Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and stop, right?
Yeah.
So I am going to make it as long as everybody gets on and we're doing all right. There we go. Mr. Jefferson's coming.
Hey, how we doing, Mr. Grimmett?
Good. And yourself?
Oh, I cannot complain.
You shouldn't on your birthday. Happy birthday.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Been
I didn't know if
quite
this
a birthday.
if I had to special request your birthday or not, if you're going to be entertained this evening or not.
No, I actually just got back from dinner. Went to the Cheesecake Factory, my first experience at the Cheesecake Factory. So,
Really?
yeah, the first time. And Kayla was as surprised as you are. I told her we didn't have that in East Tennessee.
Wow. So
yeah.
Did you get a piece of cheesecake?
Oh, absolutely. Had to.
All right.
Had to, yeah. She went all out. She fooled me this year.
She paid for it?
She did. She paid
Oh
for
my
it.
goodness. She really liked it.
Hey. Look, I was as surprised as you are. She said, "Don't get used to it, though. It's the only time." I said, "All right, it's fine."
That's her for sure.
Hi, Jefferson.
Yeah. Hey, Nancy. Good to see you.
Happy birthday. I wanted to say pop on and just say hello. I'm glad that she took you out to eat.
And paid for
she
it.
did.
And paid
She
for
treated
it.
me.
Stays here.
Hey, and she had a lovely little surprise birthday for me on Sunday with some of my closest friends in Memphis. So.
Yes, we did know about that too.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, gotcha.
We saw, send us a little video of it too, so I'm glad you were surprised. But 30s, it's a big one, I guess.
It is, yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, she treated me right, so I'm not complaining at all.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you had a good birthday. And that's why I said you're gonna have a meeting on Jefferson's birthday. I said you shouldn't be talking to him tonight.
Hey, I didn't even realize it was my birthday on Tuesday. So when we made all these arrangements, I didn't really catch on until literally today. I realized that it was this night. So it's all good.
Yeah, it works out.
We'll let Nancy entertain you a little while. I gotta grab the list. Stay here.
I was just gonna say I was gonna leave, but all right. I'm not prepared to be on here. We just finished dinner. Hello.
Yeah.
So what's going on with you guys today? Jefferson, how's your job going?
Ooh.
Didn't you
So
start?
fun story. Starts
sorry.
tomorrow.
Oh, I thought you started already.
So it was supposed to be Monday, but it ended up getting pushed back. We just had to talk with a few different folks and get everything squared away. So tomorrow 9 a.m. we'll get everything going.
Okay.
Where you working at?
So it's a place called Old City Millworks. They do high-end cabinetry, woodworking, different things like that. They have a few job sites around the city. So I figured at this point in time, if I'm looking into housing and rental properties and potentially flipping in the future, then, this would be a good place to start and get my feet wet with something new. So yeah, we'll see what happens. It's exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah, I figured I'd get some professional experience behind my belt. So yeah, man.
All right. I think we have everybody here. James Austin said that he could not participate due to time commitments and his fiance or wife, I guess. He's the one that was married. And then Travis, I think, had something pop up last minute with his daughter, I believe. Mm-hmm. So everybody's here that's going to be here. And is it Aquila? Did I pronounce that right? She was on.
It is Aquila. Yeah.
Aquila? Okay. She may have been muting herself, but I was going to ask her to tell us a little bit about herself. You guys may know her, but I don't know her. So I just want to introduce herself.
So I think I'm actually the only one that knows her. She and I were co-workers at JIF.
Okay.
So let me see if I can text her and see if she's good over there.
Well, that's good. She popped on a moment ago and then popped off. So.
Oh,
She's
gotcha,
muted,
gotcha.
too.
Okay.
She might be muted. 'Cause I can't see her. I'll make sure she's not stuck in the waiting room again or something.
I just text her, so we'll see what's going on. Hopefully she'll jump on. And I'm getting my computer set up. I was just walking upstairs, and I'll have my camera on here in just a moment.
Okay. Well, we worked through quite a bit of the technical stuff this week. I got Sheldon to put everything in ClickFunnels. And so we'll have to figure out how to do the original version, but I can go in the back door and pull the pieces out that I gave him to put together. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So
Sounds like a plan.
So the goal originally was to send you these videos and you could look at them anytime you wanted to. But that became a challenge because not everybody's got like the Dropbox account that I have where it's like unlimited or it's just huge, like 2T storage. So what happens when I share a video with somebody who doesn't have that space capability, it won't play. So I'm just going to play the first one tonight while we're all on. So it's going to be it's a pre-recorded piece, but we'll talk about it. So that was the workaround for tonight.
Okay.
And I'm recording it also. Somebody wanted to know if we could record it, which I already had this pre-established to record locally on the computer. And if I record in the sky, and it's easier to send a link out. But my daughter said, oh, all we got to do is upload it to YouTube and send a link out from YouTube. So we will figure that out and send a link to everyone who's not able to be on it. And you can send it out to other people too. So, I mean, just if you get more and more people, that's fine. Because I really want to use more and more people to give me feedback and what's working and not working. So, Mr. Jefferson, let me know when you're available and we'll kick up start the movie.
Yeah, give me just a couple more minutes. I'm getting the Zoom pulled up on the laptop here.
No problem. Mr. Aaron, I see that I forgot you're a graphics person, so there might be some special touches you might be able to add to some of these pieces once we get the ClickFunnels set up and get inside there. And you see what it looks like, and you go, well, that looks kind of nasty. Maybe I could do a little make it look pretty. So I won't be upset with that at all either.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Now the invite's open.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I had to beg so much around here from my children to make my stuff look better, and they're really, really good on Canva. And so they'll go in and make some of the presentations look so much better than just a normal PowerPoint or something like that, and really dress it up a lot. I'm assuming you're quite familiar with Canva, right?
I'm familiar with it, but I don't use it because like Canva is like the version. Canva is pre-designed software to help people who are not designers be able to do things. So I've used it with people for like training purposes to like help give them a guide to how to like do stuff.
Right.
But like I don't use it myself.
Because you got the real deal stuff that you use.
Oh yeah.
Right. I got you. You don't need to.
I gotta be the industry level.
I got you. All right. Well, did we lose Akila, or she's there? She's good. She's on there still.
I'm here.
Okay.
Akila, are you there? Can you hear us?
I want to take off without her. But maybe she popped
Blink
off.
once if you can hear us.
Bro, you look like you're in a paradise right now, Aaron. That backdrop.
Just my patio.
I know it is, but with the hammock and the trees and the little water, man, you got a nice little setup.
Thanks, man.
At first, I
Every
thought
time
it was
I see it, I forget.
background.
Huh?
Right.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can start the video because it's about 30 minutes long. And I know you probably are going to have some questions and we intend to walk through some of it. And I might stop it from moment to moment, especially if you got questions. I guess in the chat you could pop something up if we need to stop. But just stop me. So can everybody see that? See the screen?
Akila said she has to log off and log back on. Something was going on and she couldn't hear.
Okay.
So she should be jumping back on here momentarily.
But I can see the screen.
Okay. I don't know if I can see her if she pops back on, but hope so. Is she coming right back on now?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
I'm going to make sure I can see her, so I'll wait just a moment and then we'll pick her up again.
Okay, no problem.
So while we're waiting, I had a student I was working with today. We went and looked at a house, a rental property that she can purchase. And so it's a second one. We went and looked at one last Friday, I believe. And it's just a normal little house, a little 2-bedroom house, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. And we can pick it up for like $30,000 here. It's with a tenant. And I believe it's like $690 a month she's getting on that one. And then we looked at one today, another 2-bedroom, and that one sell for $31,000 with a tenant. Got a little bit deferred maintenance, maybe $5,000 worth on, each one if you wanted to do something. But as long as you have tenants, there's like nothing to do. So those are kind of deals that we get here from time to time. That I ran into that. It was across the street from a house I was getting ready to buy. And he said, hey, I got 2 more properties I can get rid of. He's going to bring almost $40,000 to the table just to get rid of those properties. But it's a tax year where he's going to have a good windfall where he's working, so he gets to write off these deductions and losses. He's been carrying forward losses. So that's just something where you talk about, I don't know what's going on there. I was here coming over.
The key for you.
But anyway, that's one of the benefits of rental properties too. When you're working, is the passive losses that you can take, even though you may not have had a true loss in your real estate. You can write off up to $25,000 a year in real estate. So it helps offset your income in a year when Uncle Sam's trying to take taxes out. Some different strategies you'll learn to use with real estate.
Since you've been doing real estate for a while now, do you do your own taxes still, or have you ever done your own taxes, or now do you have someone kind of do it for you because of their expertise and just the different cases that you have going on?
I did it for about the first 5 years, and once you get about 8 or 9 rental properties, it gets more complicated than you can generally handle. Staying up with all the tax code and what you can write off, what you can't write off. Is it a capital expenditure, is it expense? So it gets how you carry for your losses. So plus they change the tax code every year too. So there's a CPA that I've been with for several years, and he's also a business owner, which I find very important, because sometimes you get a CPA, but they're not experienced in real estate, or they're not a business owner. Business owners tend to look a little harder to help you find deductions than just your regular run-of-the-mill CPA. So that's the difference.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and get started, and hopefully I can see
no
her if she
problem.
pops up, but we'll find out. All right. This is the introduction that I recorded in the boot camps module. This is probably going to be a webinar area section in the future, and it'll be used to ask people and screen them on what they're looking for. So as it goes through, it's going to, I would normally have a form there and ask you what type of investor and strategy you're going to use. So hopefully you can see some of the aspects of it, but I'm going to let it play now.
Hi, I'm Tim Grimmett. I'm joining you from sunny St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm so excited that you've chosen to begin your real estate investing career. I started many, many years ago, and I'm excited that you are choosing to look out and see what you can do in order to how to buy and hold investment property. As we wait on others to join us, take this moment, grab a pen, a pencil, definitely something cool to drink, because we're going to be buckled in for a couple minutes as we walk through some of the processes necessary in how to acquire and hold investment property. Now, I founded a company called Amazing Life, and I think that it's going to take you through 5 pillars and journeys along the way that we normally go through in life. And the first pillar is life, how to live life intentionally, not in the default category, like a tumbleweed just being blown through life, but intentionally knowing what it is that you want, mapping that out. The second pillar that we always find is business. How do you create an income that is generated due to the gifting that you have received? Number 3, the third pillar, the one we're going to spend some time in today, is how to create residual income that comes in month after month after month. We call that program Income for Life. The fourth pillar we find is purpose. What is it that you need to do that is so exciting that you get up in the morning and it just feels so natural? When you perform, it's almost effortless. That's purpose in life. And then the last one is legacy. How do you transfer and leave all of the things that you've accomplished in life to your children or to the kingdom or to the people that you care dearly about? So as we get ready to go, like I said, get your pencil, your paper, and something to drink, and we're going to transition now into Income for Life and the program that I like to share with people to determine whether or not they really want to do this or they just think they want to do it. So I'm going to share my screen with you now, and we can begin to walk down this path and enjoy the journey together. The investor matrix, as I like to call it, is going to help us identify those characteristics of the people that I work with primarily, as well as helping you understand truly what it is to buy and hold investment property. So let's get going. What are you hoping to gain from our time together today? Well, and we find this environment right now, there's a lot of people who've been losing their jobs, just really shaken up and wondering, what is it that I can do to still generate income and provide for my family? And we're finding that real estate is a wonderful opportunity to do that. The market is still hot, things are rolling along, and it's a wonderful way to generate income. Now, a lot of people who are here want to know how to create the BRRRR system. Now, the BRRRR system is just an acronym for a process that has been used for several years, and it has to do with buying a property, you rehab the property, you rent the property out, you refinance the property with a bank, and then repeat the process. It's a wonderful thing, and we show people how to do that without ever running out of cash. Yes, I said without ever running out of cash. Now, there's some key characteristics in order to set that up and to make that work properly, but that's what we're going to talk about. Now, this is a little bit of portfolio about me. I was excited about this years and years ago. Number 1, buy and hold technique, how to do real estate, how to keep it coming in. And that's my spreadsheet. This is an example of some of the houses that we had rolling along. My goal early on was to have 50 houses paid off free and clear by age 45. I was halfway there, and that wonderful crash happened in 2009 or so. And the great thing about that, I got to start all over again. So I've learned a few tips and tricks on how to suffer defeat and to still come back and roll again. So a little bit about me. Why did I get involved in real estate and what happened? Well, just to share a little bit, I attended University of Missouri Columbia. I got a degree in business and graduated in the year 1990. Went to work for Aldi Food Company as a supervisor there. I was quickly frustrated with just going to work 9 to 5. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My dad was a farmer. And I love that owning your own day aspect. And after that, a guy came in. I was working for Quick Trip. And he showed me a check for $36,000. And I'm like, wow, how did you do that? Because I see you in here every day. And he said, well, when you get a little bit of time, I'll sit down with you and show you how I got started. And I met with him and got involved in real estate shortly thereafter. And about 9 months later, I quit my job and went into real estate full time. And it's been a wonderful up and down process. Been a business owner, multiple different businesses, probably 7 different businesses I had running at one time in real estate, mortgage company, property management, get into that a little bit. Became an ordained pastor with a big crisis in my life. And God called me into the ministry. Pastored the church for about 5 years here in St. Louis. And I've been a coach for the last 6 years in investment property and how to buy and hold and flip property of all different characteristics and aspects. And then I wrote a book about all that process about 4 years ago. As I mentioned, I had several different properties and companies. I had a construction company, a real estate company, property management company, a lending, mortgage company. We did private lending, and we ran a RIA, the Real Estate Investment Association, and we had a network of individuals. So those were the different companies that I operated. A lot of headaches involved there, a lot of joy. And as you can see, this is my family. That was the reason why I did it all. As you can see in the beginning, the kids were kind of small. I think the kids, the twins were around 6 or 7. My oldest daughter had to be about 9. And now you see the finished picture. My wife was a social worker for 28 years in the special school district. She retired a couple years ago, and she's the glue in the family, keeps everything going and rolling together. And then I have 3 girls. People always ask, was I upset to have girls? And I'll tell you, not at all. They have been a wonderful joy to be with. They've all graduated from college. They all have a job, and they're all contributing to society. And that's what makes this so wonderful. I was never prevented from being at any of their events. I was a track coach in elementary school, and I was able to track and follow them all the way through school. And that was the wonderful gift that real estate allowed, is to earn income to actually be a participant in the family as they grow up. So we just want to make that available for you. So now the investor matrix, what makes this exciting? And now let's just dive into what it is that people look for. A lot of people come to me and say, hey, I've got this dream. I want to enjoy freedom. And I want to know what it is every day to be able to get up with time freedom and income freedom and really plan out the day the way you want to do it. And that's going to be the first place we start. The lie that most people buy, we're kind of going to go into that in just a little bit, and what I see happening and not happening. And then there's the plans that I see that work and the plans that I see that do not work. Share those with you, and I'm going to recommend what I teach. Share that with you, how that operates. The Freedom Formula, and then PALS income. We'll break that down as we get there. So those are the items we're going to cover from top today. The first thing is a dream. Time freedom and income freedom. I get to control my day. The good part about that is I don't have an alarm clock. I wake up when I wake up. I begin my day. Now, I have a routine that I go through as well. I think everybody should. But pretty much at one time I had about 20 employees, and now it's just down to me. I have connections with all of those people I used to have, or at least aspects of the business that I used to control, that I no longer need to have that. One thing, the lovely part about that is I used to have an overhead of nearly $30,000 to $40,000 a month. And you're always constantly generating new business, trying to keep everything and everyone rolling. And today it's just about me. So the beautiful thing about online services is that you can share this idea with many people all throughout the world. And with real estate, it's pretty much the same process. You buy it, you fix it up, you sell it, or you rent it, and you do it all over again. So that's the wonderful thing about it. But you got to ask yourself, what does freedom mean to you? And that's the part that's important to me, because there's a lot of people that come and sit down with me really have no idea what they want to do with their life when they are free. And I'll ask them, I was like, what amount of money do you need in order to set you free? And they'll instantly say, oh, $1 million. And I'm like, well, where did you get $1 million from? And what would your life look like? And where would you spend $1 million? And when you begin to ask them that, you know, they can think of a car and a house and maybe college education and retirement. But beyond that, they haven't thought about what they want their day to look like, who they interact with, who they want to participate with. And I ask you now, have you thought really about what you want to do to be free? If not, you need to plan that out and take a little time to understand that, because it's critically important. Now, the lie that I hear most people buy into, because if you can go to any one of those, I'm not going to say fly by me because they've been around and they're consistent, but people who you see on a late night infomercial who say that they have this opportunity for you and they're going to be showing up at the hotel this weekend on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you can get your free ticket and show up. And miraculously, they're going to tell you that you can start wholesaling initially because it doesn't cost any money to get started. Now, some aspects of that are true if you align yourself with somebody who's already in the industry and you want a bird dog for them, which is ride around and find vacant properties and give them a list. And if you give them the lead and they call the individual and you're able to split the profit when they close the deal, yes, it doesn't cost too much other than your gas and being able to report to them. But wholesaling, the way I understand it with the people that I work with, is a business in itself. You're advertising, you're paying for cards, you're paying for bandit signs, you're doing drop ship postcards of $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even $7,000 or $8,000 a month in leads. And then, of course, there's a whole process that goes with that. And generally, you have to know some things about real estate in order to get started. You know, what do repairs cost? What areas are you in? Comps, all those type of things. You have to have a buyer's list. So I'm not saying that you can't start in wholesaling. I'm just letting you know that it's a job in itself. And once you master wholesaling, it's a wonderful thing. I've said many times, if I had started out in wholesaling and not rehabbing, I never would have gone to rehab, because you don't touch a property. You move paper and you get paid. So it's a business in itself, but you constantly have to keep repeating the business in order to get paid. And that's the difference between investment property and wholesale. It's just another job. 3, the plans I've seen that don't work. Once you've chosen the idea that I'm going to have an investment property, some people say that I'm going to do this. I'm going to rehab first, a partner and I. We're going to rehab several properties this year. We're going to then take the profit from those properties and purchase a property for cash. Now, I don't have any problem with that. I had that idea myself at one time. But here's what happens. Generally, on a property that you're going to rehab, it takes about 3 to 4 months in order for you to turn a property. You have to buy it, you have to clean it out, you have to fix it up, you have to get it inspected, you have to put it on the market, you have to find a buyer, you have to close on the property, and then you get paid. And I find it takes about 4 months. Well, during the 4 months that you're working on the house and not getting paid, you're still accruing bills. So the moment you close on the property that you thought you were going to get $30,000 worth of profit, you only get $20,000 worth of profit because you may have been a cost overrun, things happen, things out of your control, but your profit shrank. So now it's been 4 months since you had your last paycheck, so you got to catch up on bills. So you might have $7,000 or so taken out of that. So you got $13,000 left. You split that with your partner, so it leaves you with $6,500, and that's great. So 3 houses you can do a year, and it leaves you with about $18,000 or $19,000. Well, first of all, can you buy an investment property for $18,000? Generally not. But you can do flips for more. I understand. Just typically in our neighborhood and in our market, those are typical numbers. So what happens is it takes several years in order to buy your first property, and then several more years before you can buy your second property. You kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about. I understand the idea of not having debt, but I found that people get discouraged, and it takes so many years in order to buy your individual properties. So we come up with a different idea. We say that you first understand how many properties do you need that you need to acquire in order to live an income-free and debt-free life. And then you go out and acquire all of those properties through the BRRRR system. Remember that process where we buy it, we rehab it, we rent it out, then we refinance it, and we repeat. That is what we recommend. And then we snowball paying off the debt. But let's first go out and acquire all the rental properties that we need to get, and then we concentrate on paying them off. That is what I found that works best for the people I work with. Now, let's talk about what that looks like on income over time in the process of passive income. So you'll see on the vertical arrow there is about income. How much money are you making? And then on the horizontal line, you'll see it's a time. How long is it going to take you to acquire these properties? The next aspect you're going to see is in order to purchase the properties, you're going to need to have each property generate income. And as they generate income or they have a value, the value of your portfolio is the blue line. When you purchase the property, you don't want to spend retail for the value of the house that you purchased. The difference between what you paid for the property and what it's worth is the equity. It's the black arrow in between. Now, the red line is the amount of debt that you would carry, and that would be created by the bank loan that you have. The next thing is your current expenses. That line I know is not going to stay consistent, but for this scenario, we're going to ask that it is. Somewhere, let's say if you got $3,000 to $5,000 worth of expenses each month, that's the part that you need to know and identify on what is it going to take in order for you to generate a number of income properties in order to meet your current expenses. Now, somewhere along that line, as you begin to start purchasing rental properties, each one of those rental properties is going to have a cash flow associated with it. In this example, let's just say it's $250. So for every $1,000 you need in order to break even with your current expenses, you're going to need to purchase 4 houses. So if you need, let's say, $3,000 of income, you're going to need 12 houses in order to break even or to meet the cash that's going out of the house equal to the cash that's coming into the house. And we call that options. At that point where the yellow dot is under financial freedom, your income equals your expenses. And that's opportunity. Opportunity for you to decide whether you continue working or you do something different or you pick a different job. Now, as that gap increases to the right where the cash flow is in your lifestyle, as time goes on, you'll accumulate more and more rental properties. You will determine at that time where the shift is. Let's say you've got $10,000 a month of income coming in, and you've got $3,000 worth of expenses. Well, you might want to increase your lifestyle, let's say to $7,000. And now you still got some play in your game, but you're living at a different level. The last thing is legacy. How do you prepare to transition and transfer all of these assets to your children or to your business employees and sell it or whatnot? And that's the last and final piece of the program here. Now, we talked about the formula, freedom formula. And the simple aspect of that is determining how many houses you need to purchase based on the average net cash flow that each ideal property you're going to select will generate. So now, the first aspect that you do on the left-hand side is the current household expenses. Like I used an example, $3,000. And the average net cash flow of rentals is $250. You would need 12 houses in this scenario in order to find your financial freedom. Now, 6 is your PALS income. And it's just an acronym that I came up with. And passive represents the P, the residual income that you're going to have coming in month after month. That's your rent that you're collecting. The automated part is the work that is delegated. Leverage, that within internet and teammates, you can do all the work yourself. And of course, systems. Systems help you scale your business. Once you begin to buy a few properties, you'll understand what it is and how things work, entries work, and you begin to scale at a much faster level than you were able to begin with. I'm going to walk through some processes on how you can acquire the property. We're going to talk about some contrasting ways in which you can acquire rental property and some of the pitfalls associated with that, as well as where and when these aspects come into line. The traditional banking is the way that most people go about buying a property. They'll go out and maybe get a loan for one property, and the bank will ask you to put 20% down payment. And let's say that that 20% down payment comes to $5,000. You have 4 properties that you're able to purchase before you run out of cash. But at the end of the 4th property, $20,000 gone out of your pocket, you've got some cash flow coming in, but you're tapped out. So that's the traditional way that the bank works, is that you're going to bring in some deposit or amount of money in order to purchase a property with good credit and a job. Those are the traditional ways of getting a property. The other way is to go through a hard money lender. Now, a hard money lender, true hard money lender, will never ask you for any of your financial information. They're only going to look at the value of the property. If the value of the property is generally 70% or less, they will lend you money. Some will lend you money on the purchase and the fix if the loan to value ratio is low enough. And they're only concerned with if you pay them back or not. If you do not pay them back, they're going to take the property away from you. That's a true hard money lender. But there are so many money lenders now who are changing that aspect, and they almost scream you as hard as a regular bank. And in the process that I work with, that's one of the steps we use in the Bourbon method, is to use a hard money lender. But we're going to refinance out of the property and pay the hard money lender off, thus creating a way that you can purchase a property in some situations with absolutely zero money out of your pocket. And I would say that 95% of all of my students qualify for this method, where nothing comes out of their pocket. And they're able to purchase and rehab the property just by the use of the hard money lenders. Private money lenders, those are people that you know, that trust you. Those may be people that parents grew up with, or you've had a relationship with, or people that you work with who have a big fat 401k, or they have just money sitting on the side, and they want a better rate of return than they're getting at the bank, which now is an opportunity time in order to share and get people to invest in private money lending, because the interest rates are somewhere between 1% and 2% return that they're able to get, and nobody's excited about that. So they can easily get 6 to 8% or more lending money to you, and that's going to happen because they trust you. Now, I help people establish those relationships, all the paperwork, and how that would work. But that's a little bit extra, and that's on the side, but that is something that we do help some of our students do. Partnership investing, that's one way where one person is usually bringing the money and one person is usually bringing the experience or the hands-on working ability. That is a way that will work as well. I do a similar version of that, where I create no debt on my properties, but partnership sometimes works very well, but it usually takes twice the number of properties acquired in order for you to meet your needs, because half of the profits going to your partner and half you receive. But it's a definite good way to get started. Personal investing, I've had that with one student where she simply had a big old wad of cash, and she brought that money to the closing table and said, "Hey, I'm ready to buy some investment properties." Now understand, this took her 14 years to get to this point where she would eventually find a coach that would work with her that could understand the pieces that prevented her from investing in real estate. She had told me she had spent, $30,000, $40,000 on different programs over time and had never purchased a property. Once I identified the one key fear mechanism that was holding her back, we helped her buy 5 investment properties within 90 days. So those are just some of the things that we help people work through and walk through is fear. The mechanics of real estate generally aren't that daunting. The process is complicated in what happens in working with people and contractors and all the different fixes that can happen in the house. But generally, once you get going, it's not that hard, especially when you have a coach walking beside you. But in her situation, she used her cash, purchased properties, waited a couple of years, retired, and now she's returning all that money back into her program. And before long, I think it was a 5-year break even, she'd have all the money back into her account that she spent to acquire the properties. And she would then have cash flow forever. Now, some things we want to talk about is the investor matrix. Are you bankable? Are you able to get a loan? That's one of the first criteria of the people that you're working with is, can you get a loan from the bank? Now understand, this is something I always say and laugh about, is that banks hate to give money out, and they only give money to people that really don't need a loan. So in order to be bankable, you generally have to have a credit score between 700 and 800. Those are the people we work with primarily. They have a high credit score and have high income. That definitely makes you bankable. The debt aversion. How much debt do you have comfortable with in sharing what's going on with this program? That's something that we ask both the husband and wife to agree upon when they come in for initial conversation, because it is something that we need to be considering. When I first started the first time around with my real estate properties, I was in a team somewhere around $3 million in debt with about 24 to 25 properties. And that does hang on you for a while. So that is something that's definitely you have to consider, is how much debt you're ready to take on in this program. The time horizon is the number of years that you have that you can spend, and what it's going to take for you to get these things rolling. The next thing is your property preference skills. And that would be, what are your skills? Do you have rehab skills? Do people love and trust you? Can you get private money? What area do you want to invest in? Is that neighborhoods that are nice and well maintained and may cost quite a bit? Those are A quality areas, and all the way down to D quality areas where you're going to have gunshots at night and have some problems from time to time. Can you manage the properties yourself, or you need to get a professional manager? And all that in between. So we need to take an assessment of that for you to see what's the best program for you. What we need to shift to now is, do you really understand the numbers? And understanding the numbers in order to go out and locate properties, you've got to know about 4 different numbers in order to even assess whether the property is even good for you. One is being able to successfully understand what the after-repair value is. What is it going to be worth once you finish renovating? That's called your ARV. The fix. The fix is probably the hardest number to come by a beginner, because they've never had the opportunity to know how to run a project and what materials are going to. So that's going to be the hardest one generally for people to acquire, and that's why you have a coach. And that's one of my specialties, is determining how much will that fix cost. The next one is what to even offer. The maximum allowable offer is the number that you're going to come up with of how much you can offer the seller to buy the property for. Once you know that number, it's the average net rental cash flow. And that's basically subtracting all of your expenses out and paying your mortgage. What is the net cash flow after all the expenses have been subtracted out? Those are your 4 numbers that you need in order to evaluate any property moving forward. You'll notice once we get started, I'll ask you, do you know those 4 numbers? You'll call me up on the phone. Hey, Tim, I'm going to look at this property. Actually, tonight I'm going to look at a property with one of the students. And she goes, well, it's about 3 minutes away from where you're at. I said, lovely. That's great. But tell me those 4 numbers. Because generally, if the 4 numbers don't match, I don't even need to go see the property. But these numbers are close. So we're going to go look at it. I'll let you know that. Average net rental cash flow formula. It's the gross rent that you're going to get from the tenant. Let's just say, to make numbers round, say it's $1,000 a month you're going to charge for it. Then we have to subtract out the mortgage. Now, the mortgage involves 4 aspects. It's the principal. That's the little chunks of money that you're going to take off the big amount of money that you borrowed, let's say $80,000. The interest, that's the good liquid that the bank loves to charge you in order to let's make their money. The taxes, government's got to have their hand in there, and of course insurance in order to secure the property. Those numbers, let's just say, are going to be somewhere around $400 to $500 right now in this environment. But interest rates being the lowest they've ever been in many, many, many years. Minus your operating expense. Operating expense would be your property management, any type of utilities that you have to pay to maintain a grass cutting service, anything like that. It's going to come up, maintenance and so forth. And then you're going to throw a number on there for your vacancy and repairs, maybe 5% or so. So that those numbers come out. So you may have $1,000 you're bringing in and $750 that's going out, leaves you with $250 net cash flow per unit. Now this is just a ballpark number that we use. Different areas of the country bring in different amounts of money. Different rental classifications bring in more money than less. All those numbers play into it, but you will begin to see a pattern over time as to what that cash flow number is. Sometimes you'll dip down a little below, say 200, and you buy a property because it's beautiful. And next time you might get a property that, it's $300 a month cash flow. So over time, that average out. Now understand, once the mortgage is paid off on these properties, your cash flow doubles in most situations. So just understand that. Now, some people watching this at this point says, that's way more stuff than I'm really concerned with. I've got a lot of cash, and I don't want anything to do with real estate. I just want to have my money work for me. And I want to let you know that those are some opportunities that I take on every now and then, is partnering with people. And how that works is I open up and make available through a private placement memorandum that I have, where people can basically invest their money into Headache-Free Capital, which is one of the companies that I own. And then I use that money to make investments or to lend to other coaching students or to do deals through joint ventures and many different ideas. But people just say, I don't really want to invest my money. I want to make that work in a more efficient way where I do nothing but receive a check. And I tell people, I work with people that can invest, and as long as they don't get a paper cut as they go to the mailbox to receive their cash, that's about as much work as they'll do. Now, the private lending cycle is pretty simple. I help you set up a self-directed IRA account. You move the money to that account, and then you direct it to the investment headed for capital, which then we invest it into other programs. So those are for people who say, I don't really want to do any of that work that you're talking about in real estate, but I do have cash to lend. And for those who said, this is really what I want to do, I want to buy investment property, I hope this has been helpful on just helping you understand that this is an opportunity where you can invest your cash, invest your time, and create a portfolio of investment properties where you're paid over life. Understand it doesn't really begin really, really fast for most, but if you're working part-time, generally the people that I work with, they're able to accumulate 4 to 7 rental properties per year. Now, I've got a superstar that I've been working with for about 18 months, and during that time period, he has accumulated around 30 rental properties. He's done numerous rehabs, and is just setting it on fire. But generally, most people can accumulate 5 to 7 rental properties per year, depending on their time of involvement once they scale the program up. Now, it probably takes them about 30 days to get their first property, 90 days kind of to get it wrapped up, tenant in it, and refinance. But after that, they start picking up the pace. They buy 2 properties at one time, get those done, and you can see how it escalates faster and faster. Because a lot of things are in place now. The financing is in place, the construction crews are in place, process they understand. They've got generally the materials that they want to put in their house all picked out and all situated. So things begin to escalate faster and faster. Now, if this is something that excites you and you wanted to take the next step further, you might want to hit the link below, which will give you an opportunity to schedule a time to speak with you or one of the associates that will allow you the opportunity to see if you're ready to take the next step. We want to thank you for your time, and I'll see you at the top of the mountain. Later.
Have any questions there?
Not a ton of questions. I think the thing for me is just like, I just need to like look at it again and just review it, just to like understand the process that's happening. I think the thing that holds me up is just like looking at the charts of like the chart section when it goes through like how much debt you want to have, your skills, all that kind of stuff. That was made me start processing like, can I take this on, and what does that look like for me?
That's
So just
good.
more internal.
That's one of the forms that I want you to be able to have and create. So the very first piece of this whole module is finding out what your financial freedom number is, which is based in today's terms, how much income do you need to generate in order to set yourself free, if that's where you want to go. Some people say, I just want an extra $3,000 a month coming in. I'm going to keep working all the rest of my life. And then some people say, no, I need X number of dollars because I don't want to continue working where I am working currently or whatever. But that is the first place that you have to stop off at, is how much money are you trying to generate in a passive nature? Then the second question you've got to ask yourself is, what neighborhood do I want my properties to be in? Because that dictates the type of investor that you're, or the type of tenant that you're going to get generally. If you've got a low income area, and I say low income meaning less than a $900 a month payment, that typically dictates the type of, how do I want to say, type of payment that you can expect to receive. People with over $1,000, $900 to $1,000, this is characteristics that you'll see. They can automatically set up the direct deposit to hit your account. They're also going to be able to email you if there is a problem with their property. It's set up online. You can have, your contractor set up online. So it says, this person emailed me, their storm door doesn't close properly. They'll be there Thursday at 5 o'clock. They're going to actually be there Thursday at 5 o'clock, as opposed to some of the tenants that under the $900 threshold, I got my paycheck today, and they may call you at 5 o'clock saying, I've got my rent money now. If you're a property manager or an individual, you better go down there and be there before 6 o'clock, because they've already spent some of the money. I get my hair fixed, I get nails, I'm getting new tennis shoes. And then by the time you get there, it's like, well, I only got $250 left. So that's kind of the reality of the different price points. The other thing is the cost. If you're in a neighborhood, typically those houses are less in value than the, $1,000, $1,500 a month rental properties. So you're looking at a $50,000 rental versus a $150,000 rental, which means it's going to take longer generally for that to pay off. So those are questions you have to evaluate to determine what's my strategy and what type of product will I be purchasing. That makes a big, big difference in how you set up your business. The other aspect of that is, where will the bank lend me money to take me out of the hard money loan? Now, this wasn't really clear in the picture, is that it's a two-step process. The initial purchase that you make on your property generally is purchased with a hard money loan, meaning that someone is going to give you money for less than 6 months. They're going to give you money based on you purchasing the property at the right price. An example is that the house is worth $50,000. The house is worth $100,000 all fixed up, but you're able to pick it up for $50,000. You're going to put $15,000 into it, making you at $65,000, which that's an LTV of 65%. As long as you stay under 70% loan to value, a hard money lender generally will give you the purchase price plus the fix-up money. Now, once you've got that money, you put the house together, you place a tenant inside that house, you start cash flowing a month, 2 months, 3 months, the next bank will take you out. Now, that's what I'm practicing and getting people put together in before we even go out looking at houses. I want to make sure that you're bankable, so I help you put a bank book together, meaning I know what the bank is going to be looking for in an ideal client that says, yep, we'll refinance you anytime, all day long. So once we've been given approval for you based on your income, they're going to tell us how much money you can spend. So that's going to keep us within line with the property we're going to purchase. Once we get the hard money loan, you got a tenant in it. Then you go to the bank and you take the package saying, here's my book, here's my lease, and here's how much money I'm receiving. The bank's going to go, wonderful. You've got good assets. You've got already somebody paying your rent. Let's refinance you. And you can take 80% of the appraised value. So if you're in at 75%, you should get all of your money back, pay off your underlying hard money lender, and put the money back in your pocket if you used your money in order to do the repairs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's how the process works. So what other fears may you have, or questions, or any aspect?
I think for me is like, how am I finding renters so fast that are ready to move in? Yeah.
Okay. Two different approaches. One, there's websites that we teach you on how to put it out. So, like Zillow and all those stuff. You can cozy.us, I believe. Will just populate all of those different apps, and they'll screen your tenants and all that stuff. You can ask a property manager to help you find tenants, and you can also find real estate agents. You can actually list it on the multiple listing service, and they will get paid the first month's leasing assignment. So you got multiple people looking for you. Generally, finding a tenant is not hard at all.
Okay. That frees me up. I'm just like, how are people finding these tenants so fast? I was like, everyone I know in Memphis, at least for me, I'm like, they already have a living situation.
Mm-hmm.
In your guys' situation, like campus outreach or the other one, downline, they generally need someplace to stay all the time. That's what's so beautiful about when, Jefferson drove me all around. There's houses that are very affordable. And you put 2 or 3 people in a house and you charge $900 to $1,000. I mean, you can pay your house off rather quickly, and you've got a wonderful tenant. That's great. And they're constantly moving in, moving out, so you don't have to worry about constantly all the turnover that you normally get with tenants in that price point. So when we were driving around, my mind was I was just getting excited because I was like, I know Kayla and them, they've been in the house like 6 years, and they kept the house beautiful and done even more improvements. Mm-hmm. And every time a girl cycles in and out, you never have to really change the base lease, and you don't have to do the make ready. So, you can't beat that. If you can minimize the number of make readies, which is every time somebody completely moves out of your house, you got to repaint, either refinish the floor, repair carpet. That's $1,800, anywhere from $600 to $1,800. If you never have to do that year after year after year, but you keep getting new fresh blood in, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't quite pinpoint the questions I have yet. I think it's just so much that I don't have the knowledge to formulate these questions just yet. So I want to, read through these notes and listen to this presentation again, just to kind of make sure I'm seeing everything clearly. And I think as I go through it a couple of times, then I'll be able to, kind of formulate some better questions. But like Aaron, the tenant question was one that I had, and then I guess just the fear of debt and what that looks like. It's just something that makes me nervous, just because I haven't dealt with it in this capacity to this point in my life. So I think it's just more fears than questions at this point.
Was it clear the process of how to purchase before I explained to you the 2-step process with the hard money loan versus being taken out with the bank? Was that clear or not clear? Just watching the video.
I think
watching the video, it was clear for me to wrap my head around it. Like, I understand the process. on a very basic level, but I'm not to the level of like, okay, I can tell somebody this or I can retell it to myself. Like as it was being presented,
Right.
I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But like without the video and help of instruction, I'm just like, I don't know. So like, and I'm the type of learner, like that's why I'm for like watching these videos beforehand and then coming, because like I want to be able to spend time mulling over it and then being able to come prepared with like, okay, this is where I'm lost. It's what I don't understand. Right now, it's just like, okay, I get it at a very basic level, but beyond that, I don't know how to really articulate what's being said.
Okay, and that's fair. Was it clear that if you don't want to do any of this and you got a big wad of cash, you could partner with me and I'd be happy to take your cash?
that was pretty clear.
Okay.
Yeah, very clear.
Just want to make sure. I probably should have an example in there where we partnered with some people and they just did nothing. Like I've got a couple of partners that we've got properties now. He does nothing. Like I said, I called him yesterday, sent him his check. Here's what's coming. I mean, it wasn't the check he wanted, but he got something and he did nothing. I mean, I sent him a check in the mail. Like I said, as long as he doesn't get a paper cut when he opens his envelope,
That's a solid deal.
That's the extent he has to be involved in. That's all he cares. And it works for him. So I just want to make sure that was clear. That's good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very clear. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, well, that is that module. Then, and I'll get this figured out how we, get it in YouTube or where we got to get it, send you the link, and then everybody, y'all can blast it out to other people. I don't care. The more people that you share it with, that's great. You can have more people get on next time. I mean, because obviously they've seen the video. They're not going to they're not missing anything by not having me tonight.
Right.
And then that just generates more questions people have. The next version will be walking through the mindset, what you need to do to set your business up, how to get your LLC set up, and your money. Those are all short videos, and those will actually be the boot camp that we held over a 2-day period. So that'll be more of the mechanics on really how does this work, and it'll be broken down in a little more bite-sized manners, not just hit you like full force like I did today. So you don't have any other questions? Go ahead.
I have one more question. How much free income of my own money do I need available to get really started?
That's a complicated question. One, I can't tell you because I don't know what all your whole finances look like. But a rule of thumb typically is you need a minimum of $5,000 that's liquid. Either you can access it through your 401k. Definitely should be getting credit cards. If you get a Lowe's card, Home Depot card, or Capital One, some of those travel cards. If you get anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 in those type of cards, that will be a good start. Because and just leave them, with zero balances, because if you can screw yourself if you start taking them out. And then when you go to the bank and they look at what's your debt to income level, if there's anything that's significant on those, it messes your debt to income level. And that's what they look at to see how likely you are and having the ability to pay them back. So just because they're open and you don't have anything on them, that's fine. That doesn't ding you, because you can easily put all the materials that you would need on your credit card, like paint, drywall, flooring, whatever. You still have to pay the labor to have all that stuff installed. So that's where you need the $5,000. And that's assuming that you can't get the loan that'll cover the purchase and the rehab. What we're going to try to do is always buy a house that we can get the purchase and rehab included in the loan originally.
Mm-hmm.
Or you got a private person that'll loan money to you, which that works out well too. We do a lot of creative stuff.
Okay. That answers the first part for me.
Okay. Yep.
And if I have more questions and just thinking through things, is it better to text you or to email you? How would you like to be?
Text me always.
Okay.
If you ever email me something, send me a text and tell me that you emailed me something.
Okay.
That's how much I watch email. Usually just text me and say, if it's a question, if it's easy, yeah, text it. But if it's a longer involved question, just text me, hey, you got a couple minutes right now, and I'll just talk with you.
Okay.
That's usually the best way to get it. All right.
That sounds like a plan. Hey, I appreciate your time today.
You're welcome. We'll be set up for next Tuesday.
All right, that sounds good.